Hopefully, Marissa and Alicia will have a chance to join us. You can at least see their faces, because for some of you, the first time that you will see them is when you meet them in Denver. Just to kind of go over our plan for getting to Denver. I know that Maggie and Brendan are meeting here in Laramie. We're going to leave about 6:30 in the morning. So I will have one of our interns from our office is driving a Suburban down there. So I will have her contact you guys directly to figure out where she's going to meet you. Also, the chaperone, Marissa Palm from Laramie, will be going with you. And then there's Casey Olson from Rock Springs will be meeting here in Laramie. And possibly Kylie from Lusk will meet us in Cheyenne and drive the group down. So we'll have transportation down. And then I believe that Maggie and Brendan will go back to Billings and they'll get home on their own. The rest of you, I think, are all flying out of Jackson. So in turn, the rest of you will just, you're on your own for getting to and from the airport. So hopefully that answers everybody's questions about transportation, because I know people had some. I will resend your flight information out if you haven't gotten already, so you know what flight you're on and what time you get home, so you can make plans accordingly. In addition, after this, tomorrow morning, I'll also send out a list of all the cell phone numbers that I have for you. They may not be the cell phone number you're using while you're in DC, so you'll want to do a reply all to let people know if it's a wrong number, if it's a parent number, and you want to make sure they have your number too, so that way you guys can get a hold of each other ahead of time. All of you are flying on the same flight from Denver to Washington, D.C., so those of you who do come from Jackson or Casper, you will meet the group at your gate to get to Washington, D.C. So just go to the gate that your next flight is out, and the entire group will be there. And like I said, hopefully Marissa and Alicia join us. You can at least see their faces. If not, I'll take pictures of them, or I'll stalk their Facebook and copy pictures of them and send them out to you, so at least you know who you're looking for, because that would be helpful when you get to that point. So I can give you a little heads up if they don't join us. Marissa went last year on the trip as the chaperone, so she'll be the lead chaperone this year. And Alicia was a longtime 4-H member. They're both, I think, kindergarten and first or second grade teachers, one in Cheyenne and one up in Torrington. So lots of extensive, they're both 4-H members, so they should be great to help you and guide you through your experience. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go through a little PowerPoint that the 4-H Center created just to kind of give you a heads up about what to pack, those kind of things. But once again, super informal, so please ask questions as we go, because I don't want you to forget them and not remember what you wanted to know. So all of you are going to Citizenship Washington Focus, and so we'll just kind of go through the orientation, and then we'll talk about what meals are covered, what meals are not, what kind of things to bring with you, that kind of stuff. So this overview that they created, we'll highlight the schedule, and that'll really help you with knowing where you're going and what to wear. It'll go through what you're going to do while you're there with workshops and committees. We'll talk about where you're staying at the 4-H Center, because it's a little different than any hotel or anything like that. And then most of the forms and documents you've already done, so you don't have to worry about those. So you're actually going to arrive on Saturday because you live in Wyoming and you can't get anywhere the same day that you want to. So we have to come in a day early. So basically, any meals on Saturday and Sunday morning are not covered by us. So those will be meals that you'll have to cover on your own. Wait, let me rephrase that. Any meals on Saturday are not covered. We do cover Sunday breakfast, and I believe that the conference center covers Sunday evening. So you have to pay for your meals on Saturday and your lunch on Sunday. Also, because you have extra time, you will probably have time on Saturday and Sunday to go down and do some exploring in Washington, D.C. So as a group, you guys can decide what you want to do. A lot of times they go to the zoo because it's not part of our tour. Also, in the past, they've walked to DC Cupcakes, which is about a mile away from the 4-H Center, because if you haven't heard of DC Cupcakes, there's a TV show on TV, and they're like amazing. So they go there sometimes. You'll be responsible for your transportation also those days. So if you take the metro, which is how you would get downtown, my guess is that it will cost you about $10 round trip. So you'll want to have that cash with you also, just so you can pay for that. After the opening ceremony, there will be a pin trade. I will send 25 Wyoming pins with Marissa for each of you, so you'll be able to trade pins. However, if you want to make your own unique pins for your area, or you want to get bumper stickers, whatever to trade, basically you'll trade with other people from other states. So if you see the picture here, you can see someone made I Love New York pins, and then they traded them. But I will give you 25 Wyoming pins to trade. Beyond that, you can bring other stuff if you choose, but you do not have to. You should be good with 25 items without having a problem. The cool thing is that you're from Wyoming and people want your pins, so people will come and find you to get pins because there are very few of you compared to most delegations that bring 40 or 50 kids. So congrats to everybody. On Monday, you'll start off with a workshop in the morning, and then you'll do a night view of Washington, D.C. Probably my favorite part of the entire experience is the night view that you'll get to go on. It's a lot of walking on the night view, so be sure that you're wearing comfortable shoes that evening. You'll visit the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, Vietnam, Korea, and also the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. Plus, you'll drive around and see a lot of like the things at night, like the White House, the Capitol, the Washington Monument, stuff like that. But you will stop at a few of those memorials. And then on Tuesday, you'll have the Derby. It's kind of like, I would say, a bunch of different relay races that you'll participate in. There's like water and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So you'll wear clothes that you don't mind getting wet or dirty. I mean, it's not like they have to be like old or nasty clothes, but you will possibly, I think there's like water balloon tosses, depending what the Healthy Living Group plans. So just be forewarned that you will have some opportunities to kind of get messy on that day. Tuesday, you'll also do some action planning, which is where you're going to talk about an issue in your community and lay the groundwork to take action. And then Wednesday, we have opportunities for you to meet with both of our senators and our representative and take a tour of the Capitol. Last year, my husband actually chaperoned the group with Marissa, and he was highly impressed with the tour that Liz Cheney gave them, said it's the best one he's ever been on, and I think he's been in DC 5 or 6 times. So he so we're working with Liz Cheney again to give you the tour because that seems to work out better. You'll get your picture taken. Because we have so few congressmen and senators from Wyoming, you'll have some extra time that day that other delegations might not have. So usually they'll spend some time going to the botanical gardens and checking out some of the sites like the Library of Congress and the Supreme Court up on Capitol Hill. Just to let you know, I'm going to go back to this picture. This is your outfit for that day. So you will need a pair of khaki pants. If you don't have some already, you'll need to work on finding some. So just be forewarned that you will need khaki pants, and they will give you that green t-shirt to wear, and that's what everybody wears. It's kind of nice because usually Capitol Hill days you had to dress in like suits and nice dresses, and this is a little bit more comfortable, especially because you're going to be walking around a lot. Wednesday is probably the longest day by far. So I would highly suggest that you wear comfortable shoes with your khaki pants. You will leave pretty early in the morning, and you won't probably get back till 9 or 10 in the evening, because after the Capitol Hill Day, you do something that's called Twilight Tattoo, weather permitting. It's really cool. It's where the old guard from Arlington National Cemetery puts on the history of the Army, and they basically start out with music and outfits from back in George Washington's day and bring up to the present day what's going on there. So it's a really, probably another one of my favorite things that you get to do while you're there, but it is a super, super long day. And once again, because you're only going to see 2 senators and a representative, you will be doing other stuff that day. So walking, I'm telling you, you're going to be walking more than you probably walked in a really long time. So be forewarned, you'll really want to have comfortable shoes that day. Thursday, you're going to present the things that you worked on all week. So that will be part of that. And then Friday, there's a talent show and a dance. So if you have a talent and you need to bring props with you that you want to audition for, just know that auditions will be throughout the week, and then they'll choose people to do talent, whether it's playing an instrument, singing. You can see here, it looks like their state did some type of skit. Just know that you'll have to bring those things with you. So you'll participate in different workshops while you're there, and you'll sign up for different committees. And so a lot of the workshops talk about identifying issues that are happening in your local area and then working on them to try to solve them. And so that's kind of what you're going to work on during your workshops. And then the committees, you'll get to choose which ones of these you'll want to be on. So the Focus on Healthy Living is the one that runs that derby we talked about. The communication people do a newsletter and slideshow for CWF. There's a government one that plans the congressional session that we just were talking about. There's the talent one that organizes a talent show. The responsibility one helps coordinate the action planning. And the open mindedness does the different things, like they do, sometimes they run in the morning, or they have different places to try to be more mindful. So they would plan that one. So just some expectations. They expect full participation. Hopefully we don't have any problems with that one. I know one of you is coming later, not that big of a deal because you really won't miss anything except for maybe the opening ceremony. And we'll talk a little bit about getting you Marissa and Alicia's number. I think, Alyssa, you're the one that's coming a little bit later. We'll get you their number so you can just let them know when you're there. We've arranged transportation for all of you to get from the airport to the 4-H Center, so you'll just take shuttles to get there that are already prepaid. There's also a dress code, and we'll try to go through that here in a little bit. So we'll look at the schedule specifically, and it'll tell you what kind of things that you'll want to wear. There's casual days, very casual days, which is that derby time. I think that's the only very casual experience. There's business casual days, which is what you're going to be in most of the time that you're at the 4-H Center. And then there's dressy days. Actually, there's not dressy days. So I'm pretty sure the only dressy day is when they're going to, on Thursday night, you have a cultural heritage evening, which is where your state organizes what you do. And a lot of people go to a dinner theater, and so they dress up for that. You guys are going to the Nationals baseball game, so you don't have to dress up. So please, where it says dressy for cultural heritage, do not dress up because you'd be super out of place wearing some dress and a suit to the Nationals baseball game. So just FYI. And then on that one day for Capitol Hill, you'll wear your CWF polo and khaki pants or khaki skirts, depending on if you're a boy or a girl and what you choose to wear. Just note, and we'll look at this schedule a little bit closely, the National Cathedral Day, they don't allow girls to show their shoulders at the National Cathedral, so you'll need to either bring like a wrap or like a little sweater or something if you have something that has spaghetti straps that you're wearing, or thick tank-like straps. You'll have to have something on your shoulders. So you may want to plan that day to wear a dress or something that covers your shoulders, or be sure to bring something else with you. It's not a CWF rule, but it is a cathedral rule, and the cathedral is really awesome, so you don't want to get stuck outside because you didn't wear appropriate clothing. You've already signed these. I have this from everybody, and those have been turned in, so don't worry about that. Next, we're going to talk about the 4-H Center, and then I'll go back and show you the schedule on the website so you can look at that. So you'll be staying at the National 4-H Center, which was an old women's college that was donated to 4-H. And so it's kind of like its own little campus in one of the safest parts and richest parts of Maryland. It's about 1 mile from the DC border, so it's super easy access to Washington, DC. Every room that you'll stay in will have 4 beds. So most of you will have 4 in a room because our delegation is super packed. We have a full delegation. But you will have your own bathroom to share with the 4 of you, and then your own TV, which hopefully you'll have no time to watch TV because you'll be so excited and having a great time. But that just kind of gives you a heads up, so you don't have to share a bed with anyone like you often do on 4-H trips. When you travel, you'll actually get your own bunk bed. The 4-H Center has a game room that you can use when you're not doing anything. It has arcade games, air hockey, pool, big screen TV. It also has like some computers that you can do stuff on. And most of your meals, and we'll go over those in a second, will be eaten at the Clover Cafe, which is the on-site cafeteria. And now cafeteria sounds scary, food, yuck. However, I will guarantee you that it's a pretty decent food for cafeteria. They'll have 2 or 3 menu options you can pick from every day. In addition, they have a full salad bar, a dessert bar, soup, and tons of beverages that you can choose from, and it's all you can eat. The great thing is, too, because they have a cafeteria on site, if you have any allergies or issues, they will take care of you with that, too. So, okay, so this is the end of their slideshow, but I want to take you, I'm going to find their website, and then we're going to share some of what other questions you have. In the meantime, as I'm looking for this website, does anybody have any questions I can answer? Okay, perfect. All right, I'm going to show you the website for CWF. I just have to do a new screen share. So if you haven't had a chance to check this out, this is the CWF website. I just did a Google search for Citizenship Washington Focus, and this pulls up. And you want to come down here, and probably the most important part is this resources tab, and that will help you to better kind of know what's going on. So we're just going to look through the schedule because that may help you a little bit to know what's going on. And so you'll see the dress code is on the schedule, in addition to anything else you might want to know. So once again, you will get there on Saturday, so you'll have all day Sunday to kind of do your own thing. So if you're planning for meals, once again, we paid for Sunday breakfast and Sunday dinner is covered. So meals on Saturday and Sunday lunch, you will have to pay for. The next day, you'll go to Mount Vernon in the morning, which is the home of George Washington. And then you'll see lunch here, wherever it says Clover Cafe, that means that your lunch is paid for. So you won't have to pay for that. Same thing here, dinner is at the Clover Cafe, so no meals there. On the next day, you'll do breakfast at the Clover Cafe. You'll go to the Arlington Cemetery and the FDR Memorial, one of my favorites. So that's awesome that they put that back in the schedule. Your lunch will be at the Clover Cafe. And dinner, again, will be at the Clover Cafe. And then you'll get ready for your Capitol Hill tour the next day. Going back up to Wednesday, we've made arrangements for you to Capitol Hill. Breakfast is covered. Here you're going to see that dinner is on your own. So you will have to pay for that. And it also says lunch is on your own. So let me explain this. You'll have to pay for one of these meals. They're going to give you a voucher to Union Station, which is the old, well, actually the working train station about probably 3 blocks from the Capitol. And the voucher will cover either your lunch or your dinner. You can choose, or as a group, you'll choose. I would suggest the dinner just because there's some really great places to eat lunch on Capitol Hill. And I'll talk more with your chaperones about that, and then you as a group can decide that. So one of these meals you will have to pay for, either lunch or dinner, depending on where you decide to go for that. And then it says here that you'll go to the Twilight Tattoo that evening. The next day, you'll see that breakfast is covered with the Clover Cafe, as is lunch. And then this cultural heritage evening is where it says dressy. Once again, please don't be dressy, super awkward. So you're going to the Nationals game. We've gotten you tickets in addition to, I believe it's a $25 food voucher that you can spend on food or anything else, souvenirs, whatever you want there. So your supper for that cultural heritage evening is covered. And then the last day, Friday, is delegation day. And so what that means is that you can kind of, as a group, decide what you want to do. If you look, you'll see that none of the Smithsonians were covered throughout the day. Neither was the Holocaust Museum. So usually we get you down to that area and then you kind of are on your own. Well, not on your own. Usually we have them go in groups of 2 or 3 and have meeting points with chaperones to kind of allow you to see the things that you want to see that day. Lunch and dinner on those days. Lunch is on your own, dinner is not. So there's a mistake there. It says dinner on your own. It's actually lunch is on your own that day, so you'll need to pay for lunch that day. And I'll let you know, I'm going to work to see if there's an extra bus. Usually there's a state that has a few seats open that can get us down there. Otherwise, you will also have to pay for your transportation that day to and from the 4-H Center to get you down to the mall area to hang out and walk around. That evening, there's a dance. It's casual. And then the next morning, you'll have breakfast and head out to meet at the airport, your airplanes to get back to your desired locations. Some of you will have to sit in the airport longer than others. We can only get one shuttle back. And I believe there's some flights that are at differing times. So I'll try to get all that out to you to kind of give you a heads up to let you know when you'll be leaving the 4-H Center and when your flight leaves. But once again, Saturday, all your meals besides breakfast are on your own also. A couple other things that you'll need to consider is that if you choose to check luggage, we don't pay for that. It's not included in your cost. So you can choose not to check luggage and carry your luggage on, but if you do choose to check luggage, you will have to pay for that there and back. We're flying United. I believe the cost for your first bag is $25. They don't take checks or cash. So you'll either need to have a debit card or like a Visa gift card or something to pay for your luggage if you choose to check it. If that's going to be a problem, the other option is you can talk with Marissa or Alicia, and they can possibly pay for it if you give them cash for that cost. So I do want to make you, we've ran into that problem a few times. So just note that that is something that we've ran into as a problem. So, all right. So that's pretty much the conclusion of anything that I wanted to cover today, just to give you a heads up. It doesn't look like Marissa or Alicia were able to join us. It doesn't look like they texted me back either, so I'm guessing they weren't able to join us. So hopefully I will work on stalking, actually, just because this is how life works, we'll do this quick. And I'll show you what they look like so that you know. So Marissa Palm is the chaperone that went last year. And so here you can see what she looks like, in case you're wondering. This is her on the left, and that's her mom on the right. So that way you know what she looks like when you're trying to meet her at the airport, or for those of you who are meeting her here in Laramie. And then Alicia Kiernan is the other chaperone. And just to give you a heads up, I'll click on this one. This is what Alicia looks like. So that way you know who you're meeting at the airport also, because I think that would be helpful to look at faces. So we creepily stalk them on Facebook. So there you go. All right, I'm not sure how to stop the sharing. So, oh, there we go, pause share. Okay. All right, so does anybody have any questions they want to ask or they need to know more information about?
Sarah, this is Rindy.
Yep.
And what do you recommend for cell phones and pictures and all of that?
Excellent.
I'm sure they have to have their cell phones for communication, but picture-wise, like, what do you recommend?
Yeah, that's a great question and something I want to bring up. Well, so twofold. I think a cell phone is completely fine unless you're really into taking pictures. I've gone on this trip a few times as a chaperone, and so is my husband, and he normally takes our really nice Canon with him just because he enjoys taking pictures. Just know that you have to carry it wherever you go. It'd be great for the night view, so there may be times where you want to take it with you when you want to leave it at home. So if you have a nice camera you want to take, great. Otherwise, I think a cell phone and taking pictures with your cell phone is completely acceptable on this trip. They do a lot of like Instagram and social media. When we were there, they did like a game where you could win an iPad if you were chosen for having the best picture throughout the week. So if you have a cell phone that takes pictures and you want to bring it, perfect. Just note, parents, that a lot of times the kids are literally busy. Hey, there's Leisha. Are busy from morning until evening. And they don't have a lot of extra time to text or call, and we really don't want them on their phones when they're engaged in workshops. So if you're used to hearing from your kid pretty frequently or immediately, note that that may not happen while you're there. So we really don't want them doing anything social media, yes, but like texting friends and parents during workshops we're really not hoping for. So just note there's a tour time change too when they get there. So just kind of note that they probably will call you when they have breaks or in the evening. So just kind of be forewarned about that. But I think, bring your cell phone. You'll have plenty of time to take pictures with it. And it's super easy to carry compared to a big phone. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Perfect. So Alicia,
totally does.
Perfect. Alicia, do you have a video? Can you show us you and maybe say hi and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sorry.
You're good. I already showed him your Facebook profile picture.
Forgot. And then I was doing some stuff. Hi, guys.
So now you know what she looks like. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and your 4-H experience. I think she locked up. So anyways, now you know what she looks like at least. So that's good. So, all right. Are there any other questions that anybody has?
Hi, I have a question, Alyssa.
Yep.
So like, are we all going to be meeting in Denver then and going from Denver to...
Alyssa, are you flying out a day later? Is that you or is that Amelia? Does anybody know who's flying out a day later?
DC on the way there. I'm not, so I don't
know.
It's Amelia. It's me.
Yeah. Yes. Alyssa, so you're flying out of Jackson, correct?
Absolutely. So my name is Alicia Kieran.
Oh, Alicia's having some serious issues with her thing. Okay, so Alyssa, you're flying out of Jackson. There'll be a group of you, I think like 5 of you, all flying out together. And then when you get to Denver, you all meet at your gate. So you'll meet Alicia, who's coming from, she's actually flying out of Scottsbluff the day before, so she'll be down there already. And then Marissa and a couple other people are coming from Laramie, so they'll be there and they'll meet you at the gate. And then there's a group from Casper flying that will meet you at the gate also. So everybody should meet at the gate in Denver from where you're flying from DC or from Denver to DC. And so the biggest thing is if you get there early or late, just hang out there until everybody gets there so that way you have a chance to meet. So if you need to run to grab some food or whatever, just kind of wait and hang out or at least leave one of you there to make sure that you meet the group before you go. So does that help?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect. All right. Any other questions I can answer?
Sorry, I have no idea what's happening.
You're locking up a lot, so we just went on without you.
Oh no, you're good.
So, okay, so this week, I will mail out a contact email list for everybody, or cell phone number for everybody, so that you can exchange numbers. I'll also send you your flight itinerary so that you know where you're flying from and the times. And then feel free to reply all if you have a different phone number you want everybody to have. And as you get closer to Denver, or when you're in Denver, you can always text Alicia and Marissa, and they can kind of help to put the group all together so that you guys can find each other at the Denver airport. All right. And you can always email me any questions you have. I'm more than willing to answer them. My husband has been on this trip, I think, 4 times. I used to work for CWF, so I lived out there for 2 years doing this. And I've chaperoned it about, I think, 2 times. Not from Wyoming, but when I lived in Wisconsin. So I have lots of experience and can help you with any questions that you might have about this trip. So. All right, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording now, and I'll send this out to